Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today, as you can tell by the title of the video, you probably know what I'm doing. I am doing a redraw of a manga cover, and I wanted to pick actually 3 different ones to do, but I only could fit in one today because I spent I think 4.5 hours on this, and it took me longer than I thought it would. So yeah, we're just doing one today, and it's of one of my favorite anime or mangas. So I decided to take the cover of the first volume of Natsume Book of Friends, or Natsume Yujincho. And for people who are not familiar with this manga or this series, it's basically, I believe Natsume is like 15. It's just basically like a high school boy who can see like yokai due to his grandmother, I believe. Like his late grandmother, who has this book, and she has kind of like taken the names of these yokai, and some of them have become like enraged and stuff and come after Natsume. So Natsume has been seeing like these yokais and stuff ever since he was young, and then I believe like later on in the series he just starts helping them out, solving their issues, and starts giving back some of their name, which kind of gives them back their freedom, and they're no longer under the control of whoever took their name, which in this case is his grandmother, who he kind of like resembles a little bit. So yeah, I don't know if that's like a great explanation of what this anime or manga is about, but I really enjoy this series. I definitely think it's like one of my favorites. It is like more of a slice of life, and it kind of has like a bit of a slower pace to it, but I really like it. It's kind of like wholesome, and you kind of learn about the troubles and stuff of Natsume, as well as like some of the yokai or like the people he meets along the way. And I think like due to his struggles, there's a lot of wholesomeness from like other characters interacting with him, and all you want is him to be happy and stuff. So yeah, I really like this manga quite a bit, and I wanted to do a redraw just kind of like as a study, or I don't know, it's kind of like a treat for myself, but also like me being able to turn off my brain a little bit. I feel like I haven't been drawing as much as I wanted to recently, and I've been feeling a little rusty. So I feel like doing a redraw is a good way to get me back into gear a little bit, because it kind of takes out needing to think about like composition or character to draw, or kind of like the harder parts when trying to come up with like an illustration, or like trying to think of something to draw. I feel like doing a redraw is just a lot quicker for me to just whip something up and not to be so afraid about starting from scratch, I guess. Yeah, once again, I feel like I'm gonna ramble a lot in this video, so if rambling is not your type of thing, feel free to just mute this and just play music in the back or something and just watch the time lapse. I did speed this up according to like my editing program, like about 1,200. I don't know what that means in this program per se, so I can't exactly say how fast the speed paint is going, or like time lapse is going. But I mentioned before that this has taken me I think 4.5 hours to record and finish. And okay, actually I need to explain a few things. So now that we're on the coloring process, I am going to be doing it in my more like painterly style as usual, so I'm not going to be focusing on line art or anything. As you can see, I'm just going to be painting underneath my sketch. Now, I made some changes to the colors because I actually watched the anime before reading parts of the manga. I kind of read the manga for a little bit of clarification and kind of like filling in some gaps that I didn't really catch during when I was watching the anime. So you can see on the cover, which is beautifully done. I really like this cover. I'll talk about it a little bit more. But Natsume, who's the boy in the front, and then there is Nyanko Sensei, who's the little cat, or Madara, I think is his name, like his actual name. But Natsume is portrayed with kind of like the silvery, light colored hair in the manga, or on the cover. But in the anime, he has more of a like light brown. I'll put a picture of it on the screen so you guys can see. And his eyes in the anime are brown, but on the cover it looks more like a green. So I kind of like melded the two together just because like part of me wanted to bring in a little bit of the anime style from like the animation itself, and that has more of the lighter brown hair color and like brown eyes, and then the manga is obviously a little bit different, so I wanted to kind of meld them two together just because like I have more fond memories of watching the anime, but I have read parts of the manga. And in terms of like where I've heard of this manga in the first place, it was actually when I was in university. So in my my third year actually, I had a friend who was basing off like her paintings off of kind of like yokai and like demons and stuff, because she was looking at like mythological creatures, and she was actually in the middle of reading Natsume, and she recommended it to me. She's like, have you heard of Natsume Book of Friends? And I'm like, no, I actually haven't. And in the back of my mind, I've actually heard of Natsume Yujincho, but I never knew what that meant. So when she said Natsume Book of Friends, I actually didn't know it was a manga that she was referring to until she showed me that she was reading the actual physical manga. And I really like the art style. It's really pretty. But yeah, so that's how I got introduced to it. It was just like, it took me a few months to actually start watching the anime. And then I think while I was watching it, I think the third season came out. So I had to wait and watch that along with my brother. So I think I watched it during university for the most part, but I think it left like quite a big of an impression on me. I feel like I'm stumbling on my words right now because I'm nervous again. I feel like I'm always nervous when doing voice recordings. But yeah, so in terms of process, I now merge the layers that I used. So I usually have a sketch layer done, then I will duplicate that sketch layer just to save one as kind of like a backup. I'll turn the other one into multiply and start coloring underneath. And then after I finish coloring, for the most part, I can add effects and everything above it. Then I slowly merge them all down and then paint usually the figure on one layer and little like elements. If I need to, I will separate the background and the figure just to make it a little bit easier for me to clean up one or the other. For the background, I wanted to imitate a little bit more of that traditional watercolor look, or like at least like the texture that the author and the artist had for the cover, which kind of has like this either canvas or this kind of rough texture, and it kind of has like the wet edges around the green parts, which luckily Tool SAI has like the wet edge and like an appropriate texture for this, so it's kind of easier for me to emulate, though I don't think it looks quite accurate. I did do my best to kind of mimic the different elements on the cover to the best of my ability. At the end, I'm gonna get a little lazy with the text, but I did do my best for the most part, trying to make sure things kind of matched up with the original. As you can see at this point, I put away the original reference and just started to render it, because knowing myself, I don't want to get too bogged down with trying to make things look too similar in a sense, and I wanted to focus on just drawing in my style. So I had most of the stuff already laid out, such as like the colors, what else, like the composition, and like I rendered most of his face already and a bit of his hair, so it's like I kind of got most of the important stuff out of the way. In terms of the kanji on his little book of friends, I couldn't really see the last one, so I put some filler text for a little while, but then my brother walked in. He's like why, you know, like some of the stuff looks incorrect, because he studied Japanese and stuff, and so I went ahead and fixed it eventually at some point. Then I forgot I could zoom into my reference so I could see the kanji a little bit better. So hopefully to anyone who can read kanji, whether or not it's because of like maybe you recognize some Chinese characters, or if it's just because you know Japanese, I apologize. I do not know, like I don't know the stroke order to write these, nor do I know the proper way to write them. So I do apologize if it doesn't read the same way or if it's incorrect. I just tried my best to copy what I saw, so yeah, apologies about that. In terms of like the whole composition and like the elements of everything, I did my best to match it. Well, I'm just like hitting my desk. I did my best to match it, but there were some elements where I kind of just drew what I thought I saw rather than what I did see in the reference. So some things are a little bit shorter, some things are a little bit longer, and then some of the floating pieces of paper are not in the right places, which makes it a little bit difficult for me to cover certain things. So like the two pieces of paper at the top, I need to cover part of the text and the logo, or whatever you want to call it, the typography at the top. So I'll move them eventually. But for the most part, I kind of left everything else. I know that I feel like, why am I stuttering? The book itself, I believe, is kind of like the wrong size technically, and I think Madara is a little bit too big, or Nyanko sensei. I do have gripes about his face. I couldn't draw it as cute, I guess. I believe in the manga, well, I mean, it's still quite cute, but in the anime, he looks a little bit cuter, in my opinion. I feel like I drew him too... Maybe his face is too round? I don't know, maybe it's his eyes, but... Oh, that's another thing. This might be a little off topic, but like, it's still kind of on topic. So back when I went to Japan with my friends and my brother back in like 2009, like, not in 2009, 2019, in the summer, I went to so many different stores that like sold like cute little trinkets or like anime figurines and stuff, or just like kind of like just cute shops, right? That sold like merchandise of anything. And so many stores had plushies or keychains or something of Nyanko sensei, and I was like, I am going to buy something Nyanko sensei related, because I really like his design, his little demeanor and stuff. I think it's really cute. But in the end, I actually didn't. I kept telling myself like I would buy one, and I didn't, and then I would tell myself to buy it the next time I see it, and then I didn't, because I was always thinking like, you know, I have time to buy it. And in reality, yeah, I was just setting myself up for failure by not buying it immediately, knowing that I really wanted it. While some other things, like I bought it immediately when I didn't need it. And like, I guess like, I keep saying like, but Nyanko sensei, it's not like I really need it, it's just like I want it, and I knew I could get it at Japan, like in Japan, if I went there. So I'm kind of disappointed I didn't do that. He was like at a lot of these, what is that place called? I don't really remember what the place is called, but I believe it's near Akihabara, and it's like this game center or something. It has like a red logo, I don't really remember, and it's kind of like a pixel logo, but they have a lot of like claw machines and crane games and all that jazz. And me and my friend were kind of browsing, and like there's these really cute Nyanko sensei plushies there, and I should have bought one, or at least tried my best to get one via the claw game, the crane game. I briefly put a sprout on his head because it reminded me of the movie. I actually haven't watched the movie quite yet. I don't know if I can find it online, but I would really want to watch it. I've only seen clips of it, and it's really cute. So yeah, like I said, this anime is a slice of life. It's a little bit of a slower pace. It's kind of like, not like exactly a slow burn. I could definitely think of a lot of different animes that are slow burn, but because it's a slice of life, I feel like this could go on for like a long time, and it still could be interesting because he could help so many different yokai, and I don't know, like the different situations with each of them and figuring out their stories and stuff, I think would be really nice, which I kind of really like about like different slice of life animes. I believe some shonen animes can do this really well too, like Gintama. Like if you focus mostly on the odd jobs of the Yorozia, you could definitely like extend it. Like I could spend so many episodes just watching them do random stuff, just because it's more like character building. I really like animes that kind of do like character building for like teams, or just like a good group of characters. I just think it's really nice to do. I get really attached, I feel like, to characters, which is why I like to do fan art quite a bit, especially like right now, like of Genshin. I feel really attached to the characters. What else to talk about? I kind of made Nyanko sensei a little bit fluffy by adding a little bit of texture. I'm not too sure if I like it, but I feel like I just don't really like his whole round head, the way I drew it. I think in the anime and the manga, he kind of has more like a bean shape kind of oval head, which I think looks a lot cuter. Oh, this was actually my favorite part and kind of like one of the reasons I really wanted to draw the cover for this, or like at least a redraw, is the flower patterning is done beautifully on his, I don't know what he's wearing precisely, but I think it's really pretty. Like there's these white flowers on his like white part of his outfit, and then these, I think there's some peonies in there and whatever this pink flower is, and I think there's supposed to be chrysanthemums as well for the patterning, but it's on the red and it looks super pretty. I decided to take a different approach to it. So in the official manga cover, they kind of have it filled in completely, but because I wanted to experiment a little bit, I decided to fill in the flowers with a little bit of the watercolor tool instead. So something I love looking at in terms of like manga covers, because I do have a few because I've always been gifted a few for my birthday. So I have been collecting Strobe Edge and Kimi ni Toroke for quite a bit. I believe I have maybe 1 or 2 Haikyuu, and then I think I have Haruhi, a Pokemon one, and some other random ones. But I love seeing like traditional medium for those manga covers. They just look so nice. Like a lot of them do it either in like Copics or in watercolor, and I love seeing the ones that are done in watercolor. So this one I really like quite a bit. I would love to do a redraw of like Kimi ni Toroke, probably, as well as maybe Jujutsu, just because Jujutsu, like I really like the characters in that one too, and the plot is quite nice. But yeah, there's a lot of things I would like to redraw. Maybe I'll do it the next time I get kind of more like in an art block-ish mood, or I feel like I'm rusty, because I think like it's a good way to kind of push yourself back into art if you really need it, because it does take out a little bit of the thinking that you might need in terms of like drawing, or if you're trying to think of composition, just to get your hand moving. Though I think 4 hours is a little excessive, so like I feel like doing small studies would also be good and more effective than doing something for like 4.5 hours and then deciding that you don't like one of their faces. But yeah, here you can see I'm using the watercolor tool to do a little bit of like kind of like washes of color, just because I think I use much more vibrant colors with harsher shadows, so I didn't want it to look too busy compared to the original, which has a nice, I don't know, there's a nice charm to the original that I really like, and I think it's partly because it's traditionally done. But yeah. For the text, I decided to use the calligraphy too. I don't really remember where I downloaded these. I downloaded these brushes like a while ago, or like at least the textures and stuff, so I'm not too sure where I've downloaded them, but I decided to use them for the majority of the text. Here I'm just blocking in the title just with my sketch brush because it's a lot easier for myself. And then I'm just gonna try my best to basically mimic what I see on the cover. I'm doing the little wispy designs that they have on the edges, as well as they're gonna be the little yokai in the middle. I'm gonna add the little number 1, and then Story and Art by Yuki Midorikawa. But yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. I believe we're almost at the end. I apologize if you guys don't really want to watch like a 20-minute time lapse of me drawing. Next time I'll try to do another one. If it's 20 minutes, I'll try my best to fit maybe 2 versions. There's a lot of things like I think would be fun to do as redraws, just to get myself back into drawing a little bit more frequently. Most of the stuff I've been drawing is mostly like stuff for projects that I can't quite release. So yeah, I'm gonna work on some other stuff, but in the meantime I feel like doing some stuff like this is quite fun. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to talk about, so I'll talk to you guys next time, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me do a little bit of a redraw, and hopefully I didn't butcher the beautiful art of Natsume. But I'll talk to you guys next time with another video. Bye!